The great Mike Greenberg. Greeny is with us here. He is the host of Get Up. He is the host of Countdown to Kickoff. He has made that my favorite NFL pregame show, by the way. Well, Greeny, you give the energy and the urgency that I need on a Sunday morning. Sunday mornings are frantic. I'm trying to get my fantasy team in. I'm trying to get all the bets in. NFL Sundays are frantic, and you are frantic, and you have made that show better. So thank you, sir.
Well, that's nice of you to say thank you. Hi, guys. Good to see you again. That show has been what a wonderful addition to my life that has been. I love it. I love the people that I'm working with. I love doing it. Being a part of the coverage of the NFL on a Sunday morning, it's like a religious experience for most people, including me, all of my life. And I'm glad you mentioned the fantasy and the gambling component of it, because I think those are things, particularly the gambling, as we all know, that for the overwhelming majority of our lives, it was kind of verboten to get involved in any way in that part of the conversation on TV. And now I think it has become a ridiculously important part of the conversation. Like, I saw this number. I don't know for sure if this is true, but I saw a number that said they were anticipating that $30 billion would be wagered legally on the NFL this year. So I said, that's a pretty big number. I looked it up. The revenues of the league are like $24 billion. So there's more money in the betting on football than there is in the football of football. And I think it is imperative for shows like ours to be mindful of that and to be catering to that audience, because it is so clear that it is out there. And so I've really tried to pay more attention to that. So I appreciate you noticing.
Well, I meant it, Greeny. It's the show's better. It meets the urgency of a Sunday morning for me. I'm frantic. I'm late. I'm trying to get bets in, and I'm trying to get my fantasy lineup locked in. And I'm usually waiting on Phil fucking Yates to get back to me with who I should start and who I shouldn't start. And I realize he's terribly busy working.
He's good. But the most urgent part of that show is at 11:30 when we get inactives. Yes. That's really the big thing. And we have Shefty standing by, and Shefty is, boom, we go right, no matter what else is happening. Rex could be in the middle of a soliloquy, and I'm going to kick him under the table. I'm going to say, no, you're going to stop talking right now. Shefty's got, T. Higgins is inactive, and we got to get that out immediately.
He's like a triage nurse over there, just making sure everything's in proper order.
That's the job. It really is. Like I always say, it's like air traffic control. Like, I got a bunch of stuff. Wait a minute. You're not clear for landing. Rex, you're going to circle LaGuardia for another 20 minutes. Shefty's coming in hot right now. He's got a passenger who's ill, and we need to land immediately.
How many times do you find yourself kicking Rex under the table per show?
I mean, every 10, 15 minutes.
Go ahead.
No, just for any number of reasons, I guess. There could be any number of different reasons why I might be doing that.
How'd you find time with everything you're doing to write yet another book?
That's a great question. I love when people ask me that, because what it does is it plays into this narrative. I love how busy people perceive me to be. I have a job that ends at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I have, over the time I've known you, Stugotz, and even longer than that, in that time, going back to the Mike and Mike days, I have a job that has enabled me to write now, however many books this is, 8 or 9. I've taken 17 shots off my handicap. And when my kids were growing up, I picked them up at school quite literally every day until they stopped wanting me to. And that's a wonderful, it's a blessing, as I look back on my life now, there's sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you guys work morning drive? Did you ever do morning drive?
Yeah, I did it for like 8 weeks. I did it while I was doing Dan's show. So I was doing 2 a day.
It's hard, right? It's hard. And you miss out on stuff, and you're tired, and you feel like the whole world is happening at night, and you're missing it because you're getting into bed or whatever it is. And there were times when I sort of, over the years, that I kind of felt sorry for myself in that, people would be inviting me to a dinner or something like that, and I just didn't feel like I could go. But as I look back on it now, I mean, it's been so great for me. Having my days free has been so great for me. The time that I got to spend with my kids, like your kids are growing up now, like mine. And, I look back on that. I'm so glad that I had that time with them rather than so many other working parents who are racing home to try and tuck their kids into bed at night or something. And I literally was picking them up at school every day. So that was great. So anyway, I still have a job that ends at 10 o'clock in the morning most days.
Right.
And so we have the new book is, I think you will really like. It's called Got Your Legends.
Wow.
And here's the conceit of it. You know Hembo, right? So my longtime right-hand man.
Mm-hmm. We love him.
Who's the best researcher ever. I mean, he's better at sports research than anyone I know is at anything. And it was his idea. He said, Greeny, here's the idea for the next book. We picked the Mount Rushmore of every franchise in sports, all 124. The four franchise faces. Genius. We were going to call it franchise faces, but we have this thing with Got Your has been the two previous books. So we called it Got Your Legends. So we picked the Mount Rushmore of all 124 teams in the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball.
Man, I'll have to change the title of my book when I do it. I mean,
that was a painstaking. It was a painstaking process, but it was fun, and we feel very good about where we netted out. Then I sat down to write it, and I thought we need some kind of construct for how, in what order we place these teams. Like we just do all the baseball, then all the football. That doesn't seem like a lot of fun. So we went back at it. And we actually ranked every team in sports from 1 through 124 based on their overall winning, championships, cultural relevancy, and any number of other factors. So in the book, the two elements that can be up for debate and discussion are we rank teams literally from 1 through 124.
Right.
And then for the best and the worst and every team in between, we choose the Mount Rushmore of those sports. So if you want to have a little fun, pick a team and see if you guess.
I've already
the Jets better be 124, Greeny. I mean,
no, they're not 124, but you can guess they're low.
They're triple digits, though. They're triple digits.
The Jets are exactly 100.
Wow.
The Jets are they're an even 100 out of 124.
There are 24 organizations better than the Jets. I mean,
worse than the Jets.
Worse than the Jets. Excuse me. There's 100.
There's 99 better.
Izzy, what do you want to do? Which team you want to guess?
Can I guess a Mount Rushmore?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Pick a team.
Okay, Miami Heat. Dwayne Wade.
Hold on. Slow down.
It's very exciting.
Dwayne Wade.
Yes.
Dwayne Wade is correct.
Let's talk this out, Izzy. All right.
Why?
Are you putting are coaches involved here?
Yes.
No. Wait.
Yes, there are coaches.
See, that's why you have to ask questions.
In some cases, there are coaches, the overwhelming majority are players. But there are coaches, there are executives, in a few cases, there are broadcasters.
Okay, so this is going to be interesting to see if LeBron makes his Mount Rushmore. But I know Greeny well enough to know Pat Riley is on that Mount Rushmore.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley, automatics, right? That's half the mountain.
Correct.
To me, wow, this is so tough. You have to put LeBron on there. That's 2 out of 3 championships. You have to put LeBron on there. 2 MVPs with the Miami Heat. Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
Is he on there?
Yes, it is LeBron, yes.
Okay, now here's the big, it's not even a coin toss because it's
Mario
a 3-way
Chalmers?
coin. It's a 4-way coin. It is Jimmy Butler, Chris Bosh, Shaquille O'Neal, Alonzo Mourning. And the vote for me is Alonzo Mourning. There's my guy right there.
You got it exactly right.
There's my guy right there. Now, it did take a team effort. It did take
Pat Riley, Alonzo Mourning, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. The really, really, really hard one was leaving off Spoelstra. Because I feel like Spoelstra, if you right now, if I owned an NBA franchise and you let me have literally any human being walking the face of planet Earth to coach it, I would pick him. But I didn't think I could. Riley is a must. The entire history of the Miami Heat franchise can be divided into before Riley and after Riley.
Correct.
That was more obvious even than Wade.
Is Riley also on the Lakers, Greeny?
No. Riley, there are 12 people who are on more than one Mount Rushmore. LeBron is one of them. Riley is not. Riley did not make the Lakers, not because he wasn't great with the Lakers, but the Lakers have a ridiculously good Mount Rushmore. If you want, we can go through that one as well.
Yes.
And Riley also didn't make the Knicks, even though he, I think, really did kind of remake the Knicks in one era. But no, LeBron is one of the people who's on 2 Mount Rushmores because obviously he's on the Cavaliers.
Can I ask one more person who might be on 2 Mount Rushmores just because the second Mount Rushmore might be so small?
Go ahead.
Tom Brady also on the Tampa Bay Bucks?
Yes,
He should be.
He is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brady is on
That's
2.
crazy.
I'll give you a few others who are on 2.
I'm so jealous that you came up with this idea.
Such a great book.
Julius Erving is on 2. He's
Right,
on the
okay.
76ers and the Nets.
Yep.
Tom Brady is on 2. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is on 2.
Of course.
The Bucks and the Sixers. And Wayne Gretzky is on 2. So there are 12 people total. There are a few broadcasters, like Bob Uecker is on the Brewers Mount Rushmore. Vince Scully is on the Dodgers Mount Rushmore. And then, Gotts, I'll be curious to hear what you think of this. I've been a Knicks fan my entire life.
Yep.
I have rooted for the Knicks going back to, I don't quite make it back to the titles. I'm just too young for Frazier and Bradley and DeBusschere and Monroe.
Just too young.
You know,
I
missed the Jets Super Bowl and I missed the Knicks good years. I mean,
I go back to Toby Knight and Larry Demick and Glenn Gondrezick and just absolute Ray Williams, Michael Ray Richardson. So I put Marv Albert on the Knicks Mount Rushmore. I felt Marv deserved the connection that Marv Albert had with fans of the Knicks was, as in my opinion, as significant as almost any broadcaster I can think of. Now, there are others. Like Chick Hearn didn't make the Laker list, and that broke my heart to do. But the Lakers had such ridiculous legends. I mean, you got Magic Johnson, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and no, Shaq did not make that list.
wow.
No, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me turn my phone off here. Sorry.
I kind of wanted to hear the ringtone, but go ahead.
That is the song "Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic" by the Police,
yes.
which is my ringtone for my wife.
Jeez.
So you can all make fun of me all you want.
Wow,
I think
that's adorable,
the most romantic rock and roll song ever written.
That's adorable.
Why would we make fun of that? I mean, we should make fun of it. But that's
Everyone,
adorable,
because people like to make fun of me with the stuff with Stace because I post pictures, whatever it is. And so I'm happy to. I figure if that's the biggest thing, the biggest bone that people have to pick with me, it's a pretty benign one.
Yeah.
But what was I in the middle of saying? Oh,
the Lakers. We were talking about the Lakers. Yes.
It's Magic, Kareem, Kobe, and Jerry West.
Okay.
So Jerry West, who I think might have had the most significant career of any person in basketball ever, considering he's the logo. He was, when he retired, one of the 5 greatest players that had ever lived. He then coached the Lakers very successfully and then generally managed the Lakers through the Showtime era. So Jerry West was actually the first choice for the Lakers. And then we put Kobe, Magic, and Kareem, which, again, leaves off Elgin Baylor and Chick Hearn and a lot of other ones. But we decided we would break ties in favor of players at all times.
Is Shaquille O'Neal not on anybody's Mount Rushmore then?
Shaquille O'Neal.
The Magic. Probably the Magic.
I think he's on the Orlando one. I've got the lists here in front of me. Give me a half a second.
No,
take your time. Let's guess the
such a
Magic
great
while he's
idea
looking
for
it
a
up.
book.
I guess it would be Shaquille, Penny Hardaway,
Let me find the
Tracy
Magic.
McGrady.
T-Mac.
Has to be Tracy McGrady.
God, they're
Yeah.
bad.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard over Shaq. Shaq might not be on anybody's.
Wow.
That's the danger when you jump teams.
No, Shaq's on Orlando. What are you talking
Shaq is on the Magic.
Ah,
The
wow.
Magic
Penny
is
there,
Shaq,
right?
Penny, McGrady, and Dwight Howard.
Okay.
about? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's we
Tough
got
to
to
leave
leave
off
on
Stan
that
Van
one.
Gundy, but I get
We
it.
couldn't. You tell me, like, you guys know Miami as well as you can know it. Like, he doesn't belong ahead of any of the guys that I put there, right? He doesn't.
No.
Shaquille O'Neal had a
He's not even in the
phenomenal-
starting 5.
No.
Right.
No.
He had a phenomenal tenure in Miami.
He
They
was the
won a
number
title.
2 on that championship winning team. He was number 2. Yes.
And they don't win it without him. And he made them really, really good for more than just that 1 year.
Yes.
But Alonzo Mourning, I think, is such an indelible, like, I still see him there. He's basically Riley's right-hand man. Riley was a slam dunk. LeBron, I don't even know how it could be debated. I know that a lot of the fans in Miami are not happy with the way he left, and I get it. But there is no way to tell the story of the Miami Heat franchise without that. We also, because we include cultural relevance when we are judging these things, LeBron James making the decision to go to Miami is one of the most important things that has happened in sports in the last generation.
Easily.
It completely changed it. It created the super team era in basketball, which the league had to spend about a decade doing everything it could to get rid of because it was going to destroy the sport because there were only going to be 2 or 3 teams that mattered. So
And Greeny, you could argue easily he's the best player of all time, and you could say that 3 of his best seasons ever were with the Miami Heat. So if the best player ever having his best seasons ever in Miami, then that's a huge deal. Of course he belongs on there.
To me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it wasn't even a tough decision. The tough decision was whether it was Mourning or Spoelstra for me is what it came down to. And
I think Zoe is the right choice there, though.
Break the tie in favor of the player. And then he's had a continued connection to the franchise. So to use that sort of a parallel line with that, Stugotz, I put Keith Hernandez on the Mets list.
Love it.
Because he was a great player for the Mets, but because he has remained such an omnipresent figure with the franchise for decades after that. So even if, let's say, Gary Carter might have been a greater player on those teams, or Strawberry might have been a greater player. So the Met list, we did a Seaver.
Yep.
Gooden.
Yes.
Keith Hernandez and Mike Piazza.
It. Well, Piazza, wow.
No
Piazza,
Strawberry.
So we got a few questions about Piazza over Strawberry. Here's what I would say. I took into account if I said to you, what is the most significant home run ever hit in baseball that did not decide anything of consequence? So
it came off Piazza's bat.
Yes, it did.
Hit it.
2001.
That first Friday after September 11th, that home run, we did a piece. I did a 9/11 special on the 20th anniversary for ESPN, and we did pieces on a lot of moments, and that was one of them. Like it to this day, when I see it, when I hear the crowd when he hits that home run, like the hair on the back of your neck stands up.
Yes,
and that matters. Like relevancy matters. And Strawberry, look, he had his peak was as good a peak as practically anybody ever had.
Right.
But the story with him is complicated. It came down to him or Gooden. We put Gooden on the list. I felt
Peak
Hernandez
didn't last long enough. That
there.
was the problem with Darryl. Yeah.
That's the thing. I felt Gooden. I mean, Seaver was a no-brainer. And I thought Hernandez had to be there because of his continued connection.
If his broadcasting career didn't continue with the Mets, then he wouldn't even be close to the list, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
He wouldn't have been.
Strawberry would be there.
Look how relevant he is, even in things like, and should this count? In my opinion, yes. Like the Seinfeld episode, like the Game 6, like that whole thing, Seinfeld, I'm Keith Hernandez. Like that stuff matters. Like Keith Hernandez, he's right there, like with Clyde Frazier in this city, as far as connection to a fan base.
Yeah.
For not quite as long as Clyde, but not that much less. I mean, Clyde was probably, maybe 15, 20 years longer. But either way, the point is, Keith Hernandez, I felt it is the continued connection that made him.
He spent more than half of his career with St. Louis, but he's remembered more as a Met. I grew up, that was the first baseball team that I loved, the 86 Mets. And the first name that comes to mind, you ask me any given time of my life, the first name that comes to mind, it's Keith Hernandez. So 100% with you there.
Go ahead, Mikey.
Greeny, I want to ask you about, you mentioned Spoelstra a few times as being hard to leave off. Who the hardest person that it was to leave off of a Mount Rushmore? But first, I do have to know, where did the Lakers rank on your list? What they had to be top 5. Are they top 3?
So here's how we did it. So we decided it is impossible to compare the Montreal Canadiens to the Los Angeles Lakers. So the teams are tiered. So the first tier is 4 teams, 1 from each of the 4 sports. So basketball, baseball, hockey, football. Then the next tier has 8 teams on it, 2 from each sport. They are ranked.
Okay.
So the Lakers and the Celtics were clearly the top 2 basketball teams. The question was which one went ahead of the other.
Wow. Can we guess the tier? Tier 1?
Go ahead.
I'm going to go Yankees.
It's got to be the Yankees. I think that's
Yankees are number 1 overall. The Yankees are the number 1 overall team.
For the NBA, wow, Celtics or Lakers.
Hockey, it's easily the Canadians.
Right?
The Canadians are 3.
Wow.
Football, it's football and basketball.
I'm so stuck. I think I know the football one. I'm stuck on the basketball one. That's where I
think it's the Lakers because of the cultural thing.
I think the Cowboys are football, and he went Celtics over the Lakers.
It is Celtics, and it's not Cowboys.
Wow.
The Cowboys are actually, I want to say, the 5th football team. Football has a lot of history before there were Cowboys.
Yes.
So
Steelers,
the number 1 Steelers are second. Number 1 is the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers I'll read you a little stuff.
Titles
So the
down.
Green Bay Packers are fourth. The order is Yankees, Celtics, Canadiens, Packers, and then the first team on the next tier is the Lakers.
Wow.
So let me read you quickly what I wrote about the Packers. There is no franchise in North American sports quite like them, not only because they represent by far the smallest home market of any team, not only because they're the only nonprofit community-owned major sports club in the United States, but somehow they managed to become the flagship franchise of America's most popular sport. They have been in their original city longer than any other team in the NFL, and they have won 13 championships, which is more than any other NFL team. I don't think people know that. And Gotts, here's the thing I'll say, because I know you want to talk about other things today too.
No, I'm kind of fascinated by this, to be honest with you.
I grew up reading
we'll laugh at the Jets in a
books.
minute, but go ahead. Yeah.
I love sports history. I grew up reading about sports books, and I have, as I know you do, an appreciation and love for sports history. So I cannot stand it when I'm listening to a sports talk show and I hear the host say, well, I don't really know much about Oscar Robertson. He was before my time. Now, answer me this. If you were listening to a political show and the guy hosting it says, I don't know much about FDR. He was before my time. You stop listening immediately, right? If you don't know the history of what you're talking about, then how do you have any perspective? How do you have any context?
Yes.
So what I think will make people interested in the book, what I hope will make people buy it, is they want to see who we chose for number 1 and number 7 and argue over whether we got the right Mount Rushmores. But what I like about it is that I write about the history of all of these franchises, explaining why they're number 1, what it is that they have accomplished. Because in the case of the Green Bay Packers, they go back to the 1920s.
Yeah.
And, there's stuff there, like Vince Lombardi is on their list. Bart Starr is on their list. Most modern sports fans didn't see those guys. They know the name Lombardi because it's the name of the trophy, that they give out to the Super Bowl champion. But I love writing about and talking about sports history. So whether you agree, anyone who buys the book, first off, thank you. Second of all, whether you agree or disagree, you will learn stuff because Hembo's research is unbelievable. So there is stuff in here about literally every team and every one of the legends that we chose that I promise you will not have already known.
So you're teaching some people too. That's nice.
Sports history. Look, we live in a time now where there's not a lot of good discourse, right? Like we don't argue
knowing your history has been more important than ever.
We don't argue well. But what I hope is that people, you could open a beer and you could debate with someone whether Elgin Baylor should have been on this list ahead of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with the Lakers. I mean, that's just perhaps one bad example that I just chose, but you know what I mean? And that's the kind of argument. Look, that's sort of our place in life. That's how I see my if I can make some contribution, it's giving people a little bit of a respite from everything else, and let's sit down and argue about something that means absolutely nothing.
Is Justin Fields on the Jets Mount Rushmore?
He's not even on this season's Mount Rushmore. He had one good game and a loss.
Right.
And here's how tragic and pathetic our lot in life is as a Jet fan. There was a week there, more than a week there. So here, I'm going to tell you exactly how Stugotz watched that game because it's how I watched that game.
Yep.
That first game, every time he dropped back to pass, I yelled at the television, run. I didn't want him to throw the ball. And then every time he threw it, I was like, oh, my God, he can do that. Like, holy smoke, this guy is we're good. And then I spent a week saying, oh, my God, our offense is good. Tanner Engstrom is a genius. And Justin Fields, we have finally found the key to unlock him. And then the Buffalo game comes. And if the Jets team bus had been rerouted and not ever arrived at the stadium, that would have been exactly as competitive as it was.
Yes.
It would have been equal levels of competition, and it's done. And then, of course, Justin Fields hits his head, and that's it. And then we play this ridiculous game against Tampa, where for 3 quarters we look horrific. Then we start to come back, and Aaron Glenn, who I am inclined to like because he was a good player, and I think he cares about the Jets, because he played for us and whatever. But I really am not interested after that game in hearing about how we fought back, how proud you were. Like, that drives me crazy when coaches say it anyway. Like, as opposed to what?
Yes.
Like, well, we fought back.
Up.
There was no quit. What do we mean quit? Like, what does that even mean? Like, we just get an option. Forget it. Let's just take a knee and go home. Like no one does that. So we got a couple of lucky breaks. We got back in the game. Then we get a miracle befalls us. We block a kick and run it back for a touchdown. And I promise you that Stugotz said the same thing I said in that moment, which is we definitely lose this game on a field goal as the clock expires. 100%.
But your coach is dancing.
Game on a field goal as the clock expires.
Greeny, I turned to my wife. This is the life of a Jets fan. That should be a moment where I'm celebrating. I'm excited. I turned to her and I said, the game's over. And she said, what? You won. And I said, no. Baker's going to drive the field and break our hearts. The game is over. I told her Will McDonald should have fell at the 25-yard line.
Well, see, the thing is we needed a touchdown to take the lead, so we should have fallen at the 1-yard line.
Not sure we get in.
It is actually a really interesting question. Do you, at that moment, do you take the knee on the 1-yard line and run the risk of not scoring at all versus giving the ball back to Baker Mayfield?
The Jets can't do that.
He did the right thing. I can't blame Will McDonald. I could have lived without Aaron Glenn getting up there after we have seen 3 weeks of the dictionary definition of what same old Jets means and getting up there and saying, we're not the same old Jets. Don't tell me that. Just win a game for the love of Christmas.
He doesn't even know what the old Jets are.
It's ridiculous. I found the stat. He's the third consecutive Jets head coach to start 0-3 in his first season. He's him and Saleh and Gase all started their Jets tenures 0-3. It's like they're done before they even begin. It's horrific.
Yes. Greeny, you mentioned when you were talking about sort of the betting world and how it's obviously a part of the sports media world now, and we have to talk about it. And so it reminded me of sort of whoever it was, some people blame Mike Wilbon, whoever opened up the door for journalists to admit who they are fans of, right? And it made me wonder, like, A, when you felt the green light and just like, I'm good with the Jets, I'm going to say I'm a fan from the beginning, or was there a point where that changed? And B, like, what was your origin story on being a Jets fan? Because Stu gave us his, and it was basically just based on geography, which is like most people.
Well, it was based on geography, Shea Stadium, and the Jets were just good enough with the sack exchange and Richard Todd to suck this kid
the sack
in.
exchange. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Mine, the second part of that is much easier. I was born into it. My parents were season ticket holders before I was born. The backstory on that is that my dad grew up in the Bronx, and when he got out of law school, he wanted to get football. He was a crazy Yankee. Died a crazy Yankee fan. And I guess probably liked the Giants, but when he got out of law school, the waiting list for New York Giants season tickets was like 20 years.
Right.
So he married my mother. The New York Titans started in the American Football League in 1960. They got tickets. And to hear my mother tell the story, in 1965, they drafted Joe Namath, and that was it. My mother would have left my father for Joe Namath, and my father would 100% have approved of that decision. So,
all pass.
So the Jets I was born into, there was never an option. The way I was actually outed as a Jet fan by Robin Roberts on SportsCenter. So the Jets, I was hosting a Saturday morning. Stugotz will remember the game. The Jets were playing a Saturday night playoff game in Oakland.
I remember. Yeah, Mikey will remember that game. Yes.
That morning, I'm hosting the morning Sports Center on that Saturday morning with Robin Roberts. And I would most certainly never have acknowledged being a fan of any team at that time, but I wore a green tie, just silently. I'm just wearing a green tie and say nothing. Robin on the air says, at one point we have one of those little, sort of planned brief moments of chit chat in between the highlights that they used to be on Sports Center. And Robin says, can't help but notice the green tie there, Greeny. Guess you're looking forward to that Jet game tonight. And I was terrified. I was like, oh, my God, this is going to ruin my career. She's Robin. She's a superstar. She's leaving in like 2 weeks to go be the host of Good Morning America. And like, I'm going to get fired because now, and then when we started the radio show, when I started working with Mike on a show that at that point was called The Morning Show on ESPN Radio and ultimately became called Mike and Mike, as we were going along, I realized, like, what kind of show is this going to be if I'm not going to talk about who I'm rooting for? Like, you can't do a radio talk show and just, like, be pure purely analytical and apolitical, or whatever the word is I'm looking
for. Once you delve into radio, into sports talk radio, this happened to Lebitard. I told him this would happen to him. You throw your journalistic integrity away. Okay,
yeah, you can't do it. Yes. What the hell is the purpose? Like, why am I there? Or like, we're all here for the same reason. So then we started talking about it, and the Jets were actually they were decent. Like, we started Mike and Mike in 2000.
By the way,
they had a couple of good years. We got first the Herman years, where we had a few good years with Herman, with Vinny, and that run, and then transitioning to Chad, who was really good, and we had this whole shtick on Mike and Mike that I love Chad, which I did, and I continue to say that if he didn't hurt his shoulder, he would have been a great player. And then, not long after that, we had Mangini, who built a really good team, and Rex took that team to back-to-back AFC Championship games. So for the majority of the first half of Mike and Mike, the Jets were pretty good.
Yeah.
So they were worth talking about a lot. And then they became what they've become, and that was sort of the end.
Robin Roberts' fault. Interesting.
Yeah, he should have said, "Listen, it's a Greeny." That's why.
Yeah. It was, I still have the tie, actually.
Is Mark Sanchez on the Jets Mt.Rushmore?
He is not. You want to guess the Jets?
I mean, he should be.
I'd rather
the last one. We can't give away too much of the books, dude. It's the last one we're doing.
No, the Jets, but the Jets. He knows I want to guess the Jets.
I appreciate your being worried about me and your concern. There's 124 teams in here. We can give away
Namath has to be on there, of course, right?
Who? I'm sorry?
Namath has to be on there.
Yes, of course. Okay. Yep.
Go ahead, Mike.
Misery, pain, loathing, and
acid reflux.
Self-sacrifice. Yeah, there you go. There's my Jets Mount Rushmore.
Let me think about this. Gastineau?
No. If Gastineau had stayed longer, Gastineau, people forget. Maybe you saw the 30 for 30. It reminded a lot of people. He retired prematurely.
Yes.
He played a very short career comparatively. His peak was sky high, but he did not play long. He retired very young.
Wow.
Curtis Martin?
So Curtis Martin was the hardest one to leave off. The Jets,
Revis.
I'm giving it away if I say this. The
Revis
Jets have
is a good
5 Hall of Famers. We left off one of them, and that was Curtis Martin. It's the other 4.
Okay. So Revis is on there.
Yes. I think that Darrelle Revis, this is my personal opinion. I don't even think it's a hot take. Darrelle Revis, while he wasn't a Jet as long as some of these others, Darrelle Revis was the single best player the Jets ever had.
No question.
I think it's in question.
I think he was the best defensive player in the sport for a period of time. The fact that he didn't win Defensive Player of the Year that year they gave it to Charles Woodson is ridiculous. So Namath is obvious. Revis is yes.
Klecko?
Yes.
Who's the 4th Hall of Famer?
On the Super Bowl team, sort of forgotten by a lot of people, is Don Maynard.
Oh, Don Maynard, yeah.
Don Maynard was a Hall of Famer, and
right.
Was Namath's primary target, and was a genuinely put up numbers. If you look at Maynard's numbers at a time when the league did not have passing numbers the way they do now, they still look pretty good.
Yes. It's funny because Raheem Mostert, who does a show on this network, the Raheem Mostert show with Stugotz, he asked me yesterday, it's a weird show. I'm proud to say that sentence, actually. Raheem Mostert asked me for my Mount Rushmore of sports talk radio host, and I gave it to him. Now, Greeny, feel free to put yourself on there. Feel free to put me on there if you'd like. I gave him Mike and Chris. I will let you do the other.
Do they count as Rushmore. 1 or 2?
Mike counted as 1. Russo counted as a second. Okay,
that's what I meant. So Mike and the Mad Dog have to be on there. So you can either put them on together, or they either take up 1 spot or 2 spots. Is what I'm asking.
Yes, and I selected you over Gold.
Make it 1 spot for you. Make it 1 spot for you.
I think if you're doing sports talk radio, I think Mike and I should be together. I wouldn't be there without him, and he wouldn't be there without me. Okay. I think I would put Mike and Chris together, and I would put Mike and me together.
Okay, so who would be the other 2 for you?
I think
he's gonna go like Eddie Engelman. I know he is, or something.
No. I mean, it depends on what you're basing this on. Not necessarily the ones I enjoyed listening to most, but the ones who are the most important. I think you have to put Jim Rome on it.
I put him on there. Yes.
Yeah, he's got to be on it because Jim Rome, when we started doing Mike and Mike, the rap was nationally syndicated sports talk can't work. It'll never work anywhere. And Rome was sort of the argument against that.
Pioneer.
Pretty much throughout the entire West Coast, he was doing really well. And he was doing it before we were.
No doubt.
But he should definitely be on there.
Yep.
I'm not sure who the 4th is. I think like I know, I mean, there are people who I've enjoyed, but I'm trying to think like who else would have had like that kind of impact? Like someone like Dan Patrick, would it be Dan? Like he's got to be I'm afraid I'm going to forget. Like I'm going to leave out an
like
obvious
Levitard and Stugotz, or I mean,
I was going to say Stugotz in particular because both Levitard and who did you just mention? Dan Patrick both started off elsewhere, right? It wasn't through radio, and one Jonathan Wiener,
so did Greeny,
was
though.
a radio guy.
I mean.
No. I'm saying they belong. I'm saying Stugotz might belong.
No, I was a radio guy before I was a TV guy. I became a TV guy and then went back to radio. But I started in radio. Yep. No, I would say like that show. To me, it's more a show. Like it would be like you guys' show would definitely be in the conversation. I don't know, like
as shows.
Like how do you? I'm not separating you from Dan, and I'm not separating Mike from me, and like there's no. One of us isn't the show. You know what I mean? Like people would probably put Colin there. Like Colin is obviously and still doing it.
Yeah. Colin's certainly up there.
I think at a high level. So I think he probably would. So all of those are worthy of consideration. Like it feels very immodest to like say Mike and I should be on there. But I think we did things like I don't know how these things are calculated. I mean, I think if you just think about people who sort of made a difference in the way the business was, I think Mike and I would have to be considered because I think we did do that.
I think you guys were there at the peak. To me, it was the peak of sports talk, period. Like it was as good as, not as good as it gets, but just the most popular it was going to get, the most sort of embraced it was going to get. And you guys were right in the center of it. And it's like for anybody growing up in that period as a sports fan will remember you forever.
Yep. I think what we did aged well too, because I think most sports talk show hosts became popular by being very hot take oriented. And I think what the thing that people would criticize Mike and me the most for, which was not being hot takey enough, being comparative, not being hard enough on people, not all that stuff. I think ages well. I think after a while, the other stuff kind of becomes white noise and having something that's a little friendlier and a little more based in humor and a little more family oriented. Like Mike and I, like sports talk in those days was very guy talk right? It was a lot of like, chicks and all that kind of stuff. And Mike and I didn't make a concerted decision. We weren't going to be that. It's just not who we were. Right. We were two married guys with kids and all that kind of stuff. And I think that also ages well in the scheme of things. So I think what Mike and I did, and look, not too many people do 18 years. So I think that stuff, I think if you're putting together a list like that, I think putting Mike and me on it.
Relatability ages well.
Yes. Years factor in. I mean, Dan and I did 20. Mike and the Mad Dog did roughly 20. Those guys did 18. So years certainly factor in. Greeny, it's such a great sports weekend coming up here. If I had to pie chart your interest between Ryder Cup, NFL, and college football, how much of that, like what percentage is going towards the Ryder Cup? Because I know you love this thing the way I do.
So if I wasn't doing the job I'm doing now, I would spend the weekend completely immersed in the Ryder Cup.
Glued. Right.
But I got to host the football show on Sunday, and we do our production meeting on Saturday. So I will be kind of tied up with my NFL stuff. And I also, I've got to host the morning show Monday, in which will be 90% football, 10% Ryder Cup. So for all of those reasons, I'll be much more in tune to what's going on in the football than I will be the Ryder Cup. But but that's not the right answer to your question, because you're asking me is how into it I am, and the answer is very into it. Here's what I think. I think if they played this on a neutral site, Europe has an enormous advantage.
Agreed.
I think if you just line it up man for man, and everyone plays their best, Europe wins 9 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. But I think the venue in this, as we have seen historically, the venue matters, and this venue in particular matters.
Yes.
All the way to the point that I'm actually nervous. Like, I really hope, go root for the Americans, scream and yell, heckle the European. I have zero issue with that. But please don't do anything that interferes with the play. Please don't yell in someone's backswing. Please don't do that. That's the stuff that scares me, is you're going to get some of that.
Right.
And that,
because there's a million me's going to this event. Nervous. Right. Yes.
What's that?
There's a million of me going to this event. Yes.
Yeah. And I worry that some of them don't really appreciate the golf. Like they're just, this is something to do and it's a place to go and we're going to be drinking and we're all very like, this is a very USA kind of time in our history. And so we're going to go out there and we're going to do our part. We're going to yell in Rory McIlroy's backswing and somehow we're going to feel like we've accomplished something. I really, I implore you, if you are listening to this conversation, and you are contemplating that, please don't do it. Let these guys who are the best in the world, playing the greatest game ever invented, play it the best they can, and let the best team win.
I just realized that it was at Bethpage. I didn't even know that. Like, that's right in your guys' backyard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 15 minutes from my house. I play that course all the time. Right. That's what Greeny's worried about, that me and all my friends are going to be there screaming it.
It's going to be nuts, right? It's going to be nuts.
Have you played that course?
Yes. I've never been to a Ryder Cup, though. And I will say this. Everyone tells me it's an awful spectator experience because you got 50,000 people a day there, and there are 4 holes being used at a given time. So outside of like the Sunday singles might be good because you've got 12 matches going on. But on Friday and Saturday, you've got 4 holes in use at any given time, and you have 50,000 people that are going to be there to try and see it. So so many people have asked me, are you going to the Ryder Cup? And I always say no, because I have to do the football. And that's true. I couldn't go even if I wanted to, but I wouldn't go even if I could. I think watching it on TV would be way, way, way better than going to it.
I went to Augusta. I went to the first 2 rounds. It was great. Fantastic. Sat there with my dad. Didn't look at my phone. You can't look at your phone. You can't bring your phone in there. We had some beers. We had a great time. I would never, ever go to Augusta on moving day or on Sunday. I agree. You got to watch it at home. That's it.
I actually think golf may be the most of anything because the action is spread out all over places that you can't even see.
Yep.
But I think that the experience of watching any sporting event on television has now surpassed the experience of attending it.
No doubt.
With the only exception of if you are a hardcore, super passionate fan of a team and that team is playing an enormously important game, then maybe being there would be a thrill. Yeah. Like I remember, tragically, what remains the last Jets home playoff game was in January of 2003. Stop and think about that a minute.
Let that sink in.
The last time the Jets play, and they beat the Colts 41-0. They beat Peyton Manning 41-0. But think about that for a minute. My son, when that game was played, was a month old.
Right.
He graduated from college in June. That's the last time the Jets had a home playoff game. My son, Steven, graduated from college 3 months ago. He was a month old the last time we played a playoff game at home. It's impossible when you think about
his entire life. The Jets are over in December. It's done. They're not home.
They have played playoff games. He actually has seen them win playoff games. He was old enough to have been rooting for and enjoyed the Rex teams. But they'd played 0 home. That's why Mark Sanchez, it's a remarkable distinction. Mark Sanchez has more road playoff wins in his career than Peyton Manning.
That's amazing.
He won 4 playoff games on the road, which is actually a very, very large number historically.
Mikey looks so sad right now. Even these accomplishments are sad to think about.
Well, think of his poor son. I mean,
it's terrible. Just terrible.
Did you give him a choice at least? Did you tell him not to be a Jet fan? I mean,
no. He was born into it just like I was born into it. I'll tell you a tragic story.
Okay.
My son was doing his junior year abroad. He was in Prague the night of the first Aaron Rodgers game. And he's getting everything. So we figured out pretty quickly. He's streaming it. He wakes up at like whatever time it is, like 4 a.m. Prague time to watch this game, or I think stayed up. I forget what it was, but it was the middle of the night. And he's watching the game on his computer. And we figure out pretty quickly that he's getting everything like 45 seconds to a minute after I am. So I can't text him anything that happens. I got to wait for him to react to something, and then I can text him. The Rodgers thing happens. Exit hit. Go to sleep right now. Like, turn it off. I'm begging you, as your father, please go to sleep, turn this off. You don't want to know what's about to happen. Like there was like a 60-second period there where, as his father, I know that something tragic is about to befall my son, and I am powerless to do anything about it. It was the most helpless feeling I ever remember having.
He would have missed the walk-off punt return, though. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we watched that game, and God, what a night that was.
Forget it. We were 1-0, and we all thought maybe we could do this without Aaron Rodgers, but we can't.
I didn't think that for a second. That was the worst. That was honestly in a lifetime of very low points. That might have been the lowest because, like, all of the hope and all of the hype and all of the buildup. I mean, if you think back to the amount of time we spent thinking and talking about the arrival of Aaron Rodgers with the Jets and what it could mean and Hard Knocks and everything else, and it lasts 4 plays.
Yeah,
like that's if you wrote that into a script, you would never get it published, or you would never get it. You would never get your movie made because everyone would say, well, that's much too unrealistic. There's no way in the world the guy gets hurt on the 4th play. So that was in a lifetime of terrible moments. I think that might have been the worst.
Greeny, next time you knew he was going to have a game when he returned to the Jets as a Pittsburgh Steeler. Right? That's the game we were waiting to see him.
But next time you come on, Greeny, if you come on with us again, I want to do like a formal debate. Lincoln Douglas, whatever rules you want to do, you versus me, who's more miserable? Dolphins fan over the last, let's say, 30 years, or Jets fans? Because I think it's a actual reasonable debate.
You scored 70 points in a game. I mean,
Browns are the only ones that can step to us.
It's a much like I'm 58 years old, so there's no comparison. I remember the David Woodley Super Bowl where they lost to Riggins, and I remember look, you got that. The Jets passed on. Okay, I'm going to end this debate right now.
Oh, God, it hasn't even started, and you're going to end it.
We handed you Marino, and the Dolphins got him.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
Also, in your defense, you don't look 58, so I'm sorry. I didn't know you had those extra years to complain about.
Got your legends. Get it wherever books are sold. It's a great idea. I'm upset I didn't come up with it and write it first. Greeny did with Hembo. It's fantastic. I'm tempted to guess the Dolphins on the way out. It's got to be Shula. Yeah, it's got to be Shula.
Let me get to their page. Hold on. Let me get to their page here. Okay. Give me a second. Dolphins are going to be pretty high because their peaks were very high.
Yeah, very high.
Here we go. Okay.
So I'm going to say, Izzy, help me out here. Shula, definitely, right?
Yes.
Marino, Shula for sure. Marino. I haven't even gotten to the page, and I can tell. Yes, Shula, Marino.
Zonka?
Not Zonka.
Wow.
They can't be anybody from the last 30 years.
It could be Jason Taylor. He could be on there.
Jason Taylor. It is Jason Taylor.
Really?
Wow. And there's a Hall of Fame quarterback that you're forgetting.
Oh, Bob Greasy.
Yeah. Bob
Jay
Greasy,
Fiedler.
Bob Greasy is in the Hall of Fame. Like, Bob Greasy is one of the most forgotten. Like, again, it's a function of my age. Like, I remember when Bob Greasy was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And because people remember those teams, A, for the no-name defense, and B, because of Zonka and Kick, I think to some degree, Greasy gets completely forgotten. Also because in the perfect season, he missed a lot of that year and Morrill played. But Greasy is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he belongs on that list. I couldn't come up with any other. You could have gone Zonka.
I would have gone Zonka over Jason Taylor just because he played in an era where they didn't really win anything.
Right. Maybe Warfield.
Warfield, we considered strongly.
Zach Thomas?
Dwight Stevenson was an all-time great offensive lineman, but his career was pretty short, if I'm remembering. I'm trying to do all these things from memory now, how we landed on the people that we landed on.
There's not that many options when you really start going down.
He has the right four, I think.
Warfield,
it's Shula, Greasy, and the hardest one to choose. We thought the first three were obvious. Yeah, a Hall of Fame quarterback has to go on the list.
Yep.
And you have two of them. Mm-hmm. And Shula is the winningest coach in the history of the sport.
I would think you're the Jets and you have two Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Get out of here, Izzy.
Yeah, it's pretty. That pretty much ends the discussion.
All right, let's let him go here because I was letting him go because you had to go, Mikey. Eh? All right, Greeny, get out of here. Got Your Legends wherever books are sold. Check it out. I'm
Such
sure
a
it's going
great
to do
book.
very, very well. Check him out on Get Up. Check him out everywhere on Countdown to Kickoff, getting you ready for this Sunday's action. He'll be thinking about the Ryder Cup, but he'll be talking about the NFL. Greeny, thank you so much for doing this, man.
Good to see you, fellas. It's been too long. I'll see you soon.
Always good to see you, buddy. Thank you.